to worry.
Okay, so welcome everybody. Just I'll start off by saying that this is going to be recorded if nobody's got any objection to that. And I'll just hand over the recording to Rowena so she can stick it on YouTube if other members want to see it. I think it'll only be available to those.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are going to share the screen. Okay, can everybody see that?
Oh, yes.
Okay, good. Well, let's get started. Well, the whole subject, but first off, I'm Martin Burrough, as you all know. I know everybody on the thing, so for any complicated introductions. We're going to be going through a number of things here. What I thought we would do is just take questions. Let's be informal and have a dialogue going. If anybody's got a question, let's not bother with chats or anything like that. We'll just talk to each other. And if you've got any further questions at the end, we can do that before we sign off. Okay, so I pressed the button and nothing happened. Why didn't? Ah, great. Okay, so that's me. Actually, that's a little photograph as I was going to the Portrait Artist of the Year session, which I failed miserably, but had a lot of fun. Nothing to do with landscape, except I did paint a pot plant there. That's me in action. That's one of the easels that I'll be talking about, which is great fun to take out into the wild. Okay, there's another one of the same easel, and that's from the Hurlingham Club, looking over the river. And that is at Ham House, and showing a variety of different easels that can be used. So the groundwork covered today is how to set your palette up, colors to use, what easels are available for those that want to venture outside for a little bit of plein air, what to do with your support once you've painted a picture. It's fine if you're doing watercolors or doing a drawing, but if you're painting in oils, there's always a bit of a problem bringing a wet canvas home, especially if you're traveling.
Can I just say something very quickly? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Bryony says she's trying to get in.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to let in. She's not let in. Excuse me, she's not let in.
Yeah. Oh, there's some more coming. Yeah, great. That's great.
So how does she get? She's trying to get in, she said.
Yeah, she's in now.
She's in now?
Yeah, she should be in now.
Yeah.
Do we get a message of somebody coming up?
Yeah, I'm going to keep an eye on your screen. If
Okay.
I'm trying to get let in. You should be on now.
Hi, Bryony. Sorry, we're a bit slow to let you in. I didn't see the ping. Sorry.
Right, okay.
Well, oh, what's happening?
There we go. And that's right. Can you hear Bryony? I can see Bryony, but I can't hear her.
Oh.
She's probably muted.
And I don't think she can hear us.
Martin cannot hear you.
Oh, she's disappeared.
No, she's there.
I can see her. Can you hear us, Bryony? I think she's got to turn her
turn on what? Turn on your mic. Turn on what?
Yeah.
Audio.
Audio, okay.
She's got to turn her audio on, but the trouble is
I'm just messaging her while you're talking at the same time.
Oh, good, so that's right. Ask to unmute.
Yeah. Yes, I've told her.
No luck, Bryony?
Yeah, sorry. I just think.
Yeah, she's there.
Yeah, great.
Sorry.
That's all right. Sorry, we were a bit slow spotting you, trying to get in there. Anyway, it's always a problem getting these things off the ground, but off we go. So palette setup, easels we'll use, how to carry your wet supports once you've been painting in oils. There's many a time I've been on a bus or a tube and scraped bits of oil paint onto people's trousers.
Oh.
No, let's just ignore that. That's a scam call. other kit that's quite useful to have with us when we're out painting, and we'll talk about a few odd bits and pieces at the end. So I just click there, do I?
Yeah.
Palette setup. Okay, here we're going to do with the palette setup. Now that's my full palette. And when I'm out, when I'm in the studio painting, that's the whole range of colors that I'll happily use. When you go out into the field, it's a bit of an ask to take all of those colors with you, especially using a smaller palette. So anyway, I'll just go through the colors very quickly. And incidentally, I will make this slideshow available to anybody who wants it at the end. Just send me a note and I'll give you contact details. And then you can look through all of these things if you're interested, and don't have to take notes now. I don't know whether that's big enough on your screen, but that describes all the colors I use. And there are lots of blues, lots of reds, lots of yellows. And I also treat myself to a real black rather than a mixed black.
Ivory black is nice.
That is a much smaller palette, and it's a typical palette if you're out painting in plein air. This is actually from a Strada box, which I'll talk about later. And you'll see that there's less room to put colors in. And also, you don't want to take too many tubes with you. I mean, oil paints are quite heavy. Incidentally, I will step back here a bit. I'm mostly going to be talking about oils. Because that's what I paint in. I also paint in acrylics, which behave in the same way. But for those of you who are watercolorists or pastel painters, some of this may be a little irrelevant. What's the word? Irrelevant. But basically the principles are the same. Anyway, the oil tubes are very, very heavy. And one of the things that I'll keep banging on about is stay light. Whatever kit you pack for a day out in Kew Gardens or wherever you happen to go, look at it again and take out half of what you put into your package. You're going to be doing yourself a favor. So those are the colors I use when I'm going out. Basically 2 blues, 2 reds, and 2 yellows. The 2 yellows I use are lemon yellow and cadmium yellow. I sometimes swap the cadmium for a Indian yellow, this one here, which is lovely and deep, particularly in the autumn. You need the white, of course. And the 2 blues I have, that is ultramarine, and this other one is a phthalo blue. And then I have quinacridone magenta, quin magenta I call it, and cadmium red. So very, very simple. All the other colors that are on here are mixed. And what I tend to do, and I think it's quite a good idea, is do this before you set out. You can do it at home in your kitchen, because if you're using a palette that's inside a shut box, you can just shut the lid and carry it with you. And that, if you put enough in there, you don't even have to take any tubes along with you. So all of these colors are mixed. All the greens are mixed. That brown is mixed. The orange is mixed. I even mix the yellow ochre. A little hint about that. And the black is mixed as well. You can mix black by using red and green or blue and yellow, complementary colors of any sort. A very, very good tip for a super black, if you're wanting lots of lovely grays, is to use Viridian green. Viridian is perfect on there. Yeah. And the quinacridone magenta or alizarin crimson. Those 2 make a lovely, lovely black. It's really good. Okay, so I also give myself a few treats. So the treats I give myself, if I've got room to carry them, are this cobalt teal, which is a lovely color. Love it. The mix. I love teal. The cad green pale, you can actually mix that, or a close approximation of it, with lots of lemon yellow and some phthalo blue, and a little bit of touch of red in there, perhaps. The Diox purple is the only really strong
think it's
purple
good.
that I use in a tube. And it's lovely because it when you mix it with other colors, it holds its weight.
I'm gonna get purple diox.
If you're mixing your own purple, to get a really vibrant one, it's a good idea to mix your phthalo blue with your quinacridone magenta, and that gives you another thing. But that's quite a treat for me to take that diox purple along. The red that I don't normally carry with me, I use a lot for portraiture, but not so much when I'm painting on plein air, is transparent oxide red. It's a simply wonderful color. And if you buy that from Michael Harding, I promise you, you'll fall in love with that tube of paint. It's absolutely the most delicious color. And if you're doing any portraiture or anything that requires a nice, warm, but not very aggressive red, that's a great color. Another little treat is to take Windsor orange with you, because when you put white with Windsor orange, Winsor Newton Windsor orange, it really pops. It jumps out of the canvas. If you want something a little bit more dramatic than a simple red and yellow mixture. And so that's it. I said I'd give you a little hint about yellow ochre. You can mix. The one on the top here is my mix, and this is a real, I think it's a Michael Harding yellow ochre. So what you do is you take some quinacridone magenta and just stick it with lemon yellow, and you need a very little amount of the magenta in it, and then you can put a touch of ultramarine blue or cad red or cad yellow, just to adjust it to reach whatever sort of ochre that you want. But it's quite fun mixing that. In fact, quite a good little exercise at home is to see if you can make a yellow ochre. Other people have slightly milder palettes. This is an American artist who I love following called Catherine Kehoe. She does a lot of online courses, and worth making a note of her name. Just wonderful work. And she uses quite sort of muted colors, but she arranges them in more or less the same way, with the
King's blue and
cools up at the side and then moving to the warm colors. You don't have to do that. Oh, I will just go back. How do I go back? Okay. It's very sensitive, that. There we go. Yeah, there we go. I'll just go. There we go. Sorry. I'll go back again. I'm doing using this.
It's own palette.
There we go. Just noticing that she's got her dippers on her palette, and it is important to remember to pack your dipper so that you've got your medium with you and your solvent. We'll talk about a little bit more about that later.
I like her green.
Another palette is the Zorn palette. I'm sure most artists have tried this. It's a very, very interesting exercise to paint almost anything with the Zorn palette, whether you're doing a portrait or a landscape or anything. The three colors, you literally take three colors with you. You take a black, which is either an ivory black or a Payne's gray. You want a black that's got a blue tint, and that acts as your blue. You have yellow ochre as your yellow, and you have cadmium red as your red. So you just take red, yellow ochre, and black, and then you mix violet out of that, and you mix your orange out of that, and you mix your green out of that. And the differences are very, very, very subtle, but because when they act off against each other, you see that the green really is green. And that's a very good exercise for painting landscapes. So worth a mention. This is a bad photograph. Apologies for the quality, but Richard Smith is a very fine, he's died recently, was a very fine plein air artist, and in fact portrait artist and everything. And he wrote a wonderful book about how to paint alla prima. all in one go. And the reason I'm showing this palette is that he organizes himself the other way around. So it doesn't really matter how you do it. You want to be consistent with your palette. He puts all his cools around this end and his warms around this end and his white over there. I do it the other way around, but it doesn't matter. You know, there are no rules, and it's worth just showing that. This is his book, Alla Prima. If you buy it new, this is the revised expanded version. It's very expensive. It's about 100 quid. But if you go into eBay, you go into eBay, you can get a secondhand copy much cheaper than that. And of all the primers I've read about painting, especially painting plein air, Richard Smith's is the one that I would turn to, and I continually do turn to. It's just really good. So worth making a note of that. So what paint to use? You don't, when you're out and about, we were out last week in last week in Little Venice.
Little Venice.
We had the most wonderful day out. You don't have to take oil paints with you. You can
It's so
paint
good.
pastels. You can this is charcoal or watercolor, it's meant to be, or acrylics. Or gouache. Gouache is a wonderful medium that not a lot of people use. It's very like watercolor, except it's opaque. And I love it for traveling because it's
very nice.
Very easy to stick in a back pocket. And it's lovely. It's got a lovely matte finish. Other artists just go out with pen and ink, and others just take a pencil and a sketchbook. And most of these are much lighter than a bag full of oil. Which is a good advantage. Okay, so we now get on to how do you set yourself up? What easels can you use? Well, my favorite, and I'm not paid by Strada, but I'd like to be. I love their Pochard box. It's made of steel. When I bought it, I thought it was made of aluminium, and I thought it'd be very light. But in fact, it's made of very strong steel, and it's quite heavy. But it's worth it because it's the most robust thing I've come across, and it really works for me. This is a better picture of it, and this is from their website. You can see they're jolly expensive, and they're also American. So if you can find a second-hand one being sold on eBay here in the UK, that's an easy way of doing it. If you order one from America, you've got to pay duty and all sorts of stuff. And jump through all sorts of hoops, but it's worth it in the long run. This is my setup when I'm out, and it's got two little panels that clip to the side. I don't know if you can see me. I can't see me, but if you can see me here.
It says meeting has been recorded.
These two little panels here just clip onto the side. And one for your brushes, one for your solvent, or for your sandwich, or whatever floats your boat. Now this mounts onto a tripod, and all you need is a perfectly ordinary photographic tripod. There's nothing special about it at all. People often ask me what tripod I use. It really doesn't matter. The important thing is to have one that collapses three ways. Some tripods just have two series of collapsing, and you want one with three, so it pulls up nice and small, and you can stick it in a bag. The other thing I would say about if you're going to buy a Strada box, get a huge piece of paper, look up on the website what the sizes are, and then just draw it out on a piece of paper. Because then you get a sense of what size you're actually ordering, and they're so expensive. You want to get that right. Another Pochard box is this one called Hugo. It's done by New Wave Art, which is another American one, though you can buy them in England. That's a better picture of them. They've got a sort of magnetic setup in the back here for gripping your support.
That's a good idea.
This is a typical Pochard box in that it's literally the idea originally came when the Impressionists went out into the field. They discovered that cigar boxes were quite a good way of carrying their paint around. So they used the bottom of the cigar boxes sort of as their palette, and they somehow, just with a bit of tape perhaps, fixed their panel to the lid of the cigar box and went painting away. And they were able to do that because somebody had invented lead tubes, and so they could carry their paint quite easily. This is a typical pochard box. It's basically, you know, the lid grips your support, and the bottom here has your palette. In this one here, you can slide it out. This little bit of wood here lifts up, and you can slide your palette out to clean it, which makes it a little more attractive. It's also a little bit lighter than the Strada one. Quite a few of our sofa plein painters use this one. In fact, I've got one here too, which I can show you later. There's mine, in fact, again with that rather limited palette there. Other easels? Well, there are lots and lots and lots of choices these days. You've only got to put plein air into your Google search and you'll find all sorts of solutions. So go and have a good old look. I can't possibly go through them all, but there are some alternatives. You can make your own. And all you need is that. It's called a camera tripod mounting bracket. There you go. And if you're handy with a screwdriver, you can set this up for yourself. Oh, somebody to admit. Well done. So the only place I can find you get that, Jackson's used to have these, but the only place that does it is this Ken Bromley Art Supplies. Does anybody know Ken Bromley?
No.
Yeah.
He's quite good. I mean, he's quite cheap, and he's an online,
I see.
mail order sort of chap, and he's got all sorts of paints and stuff. And this is well worth getting. It only costs 12 quid. And what you do is you stick it to the back of a board, like I have there, and you can make it quite a big board. You can see this one on my tripod here. And then all you need is a couple of bulldog clips and whatever support that you're going with. This is really useful if you're traveling abroad. You can take a board, you make a smaller board than this, and stick it in your suitcase. And all you need is that and a tripod, and you've got an instant easel. So I think that's a jolly good solution. Another thing you can do is get a length of wood, the width of this piece here, and just clip it to that with a couple more big bulldog clips, and that gives you a little station to rest your canvas on. Here's another solution. There's a chap called Harbron who makes a whole lot of stuff. He's English, and you can order these online through Etsy. And this is a very simple thing. It's just a piece of wood with a sliding sort of gripper on it. And at the bottom here, it's got an attachment that will fit into your tripod. So again, you can stick this into your suitcase with a tripod, and you've got another instant easel. In a high wind, it tends to flap about a bit, but that's all right. And you can't have a huge canvas in there, but you can do something of a reasonable size. Going with that, made by the same people, is this little tray which you can stick.
That's useful.
Stick it onto your tripod. It's very, very firm, and you can put your solvents on there, your brushes on there, and again, your sandwich or your bottle of beer or your gin and tonic, whatever it is.
Yeah, don't swivel around.
And have some fun. So that's good. This is, I put this in, so if anybody takes a copy of this slideshow, then at least they'll have how to contact this chap, Alex Habron. Okay, if you're going a long distance by plane, I would just make a suggestion that you perhaps consider taking anything but oils. I've been in several emergency situations at security check-ins at airports, the machinery, security machinery at the airports hates oil tubes. I was once accused of carrying dynamite. And that even happened with pastel pencils, because I had the pencils wrapped in a sort of wrapper thing, and it looked like a bomb, because the metals in the pastel
Bingo. Yeah.
pigment in the pencils showed up as metal. And I really had a big problem getting through in India. I nearly missed my flight. So what I do is take one of those boards I described, and I just get some ordinary old cartridge paper, and I put loads of gesso on, and then you can take, 20 sheets of that, and it takes no room in your case, stick it on your board, and then paint with acrylic or paint with
What vegetable oils?
No, gouache, that's right. Paint with gouache or watercolor or whatever you like. I quite like traveling with acrylics because they behave these days very well. They're super colors, and it's nice and clean too. You don't need any solvents at all. You just need some water, and that's it. And of course a light tripod. I mean, literally a bit of paint, a board, gesso paper, and a light tripod, and you're off. I took all of that to Australia and painted a beautiful picture, a portrait of a kangaroo. I should have included it in the presentation here. Okay, so supports. You can, lots of people use different things. You can take a fully stretched canvas, or most people these days use canvas panels. They're cheap and cheerful. They're nice and solid. And the great thing about them compared to a canvas when you're painting outside is that they are completely opaque. If you're facing the sun with the canvas, the sunshine actually comes through the canvas if it's not got layers and layers of gesso on it. So that's a good point to remember. Or you can just use a wooden board or an MDF board, as one would always recommend. Put a nice coat of gesso, several coats of gesso on. And I would suggest also putting a colored ground on your board. If you just put a neutral gray, or if you're painting lots of greens, maybe a warm color, a little bit of red, it just makes it easier. It gives you a bit of a head start that you don't have if you're painting on white. Aluminium's another thing. It's light, it's very sturdy. A little bit expensive, but you can get aluminium panels quite easily these days. Another thing that I like to use is artboard. It's just very thick paper. I've got one here. This is I don't know if you can see that, but this is
System 3.
Dale Rani, and it's just very thick board. It's like card. And it's just lovely to paint on.
Can you hold it up so I can see? Because this thing is saying meeting recording. Yeah, okay. Dale around system 3 here.
Yeah.
Does it have texture?
It yes, it's got a slightly canvassy texture. Yeah. I've got a feeling you've used this, Bryony, at some point, haven't
Well,
you?
I possibly have. I've used all sorts.
It wasn't you I got the temp from. Okay, so and then always add a ground in advance.
Sure.
Now, having done your painting and had your cup of tea and congratulated yourself on a marvelous day's work, what do you do about getting your stuff home? Well, here I'm going to show off a little bit, because I made this. It's 4 picture frames, each one 30 by 24 centimeters. And I stuck them face to face and screwed them together. You can see the little screw holes.
Just slide it in.
Here. And then all you've got to do is put some little clips on, and then you mount your wet panels face to face in this carrier. And this one enables you to carry 4 panels. So if you're going on a bit of a trip, you could actually carry 4 small panels in that. Very easy to make. I did that in an afternoon. Or you can make a bigger one like that, which is another one. Always show off by putting a nice brass handle on top. It impresses people. Now this is a commercial one. I honestly can't remember where I got this, but I got it online somewhere. And these clips are slightly better than the ones I use. You can easily get them. We use them a lot in studios, I guess, all of us. So you can buy, I think this was got it, maybe even have been Jackson's. This is another commercial solution.
Yeah.
It's made by Alla Prima. This is on Etsy. I find it a bit of a faff, frankly.
Yeah, something
a lot
else.
of people use it, but it tends to fall to bits. The two outside ones really act as the container,
Secure.
and the middle one, you've got other slots in there. You can put two more in there. You can put your wet panels in the middle there. Whoops, what have I done?
That's mounting it.
There we are.
Mm.
Yeah, there we go.
Mm.
And it works. I've used it a couple of times. And if you're going away on a trip, maybe that'll store 5 panels, so that's quite good. That's their advertising, how it all works.
Mm.
You have to sort of build it and put it together yourself. Here's another solution made by this is Jackson's. I only discovered this one today. I didn't know they made this.
No, I hadn't heard
So
they did
Pop
anything.
along to Jackson's. All you need to do with that is buy your brass handle, or maybe put a strap on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're laughing. And that's what does it say? 26 quid?
It's
Not bad.
expensive.
Yeah.
Reasonable. Mm.
How many canvas does it carry?
That would carry 2.
Okay.
And they wouldn't be canvases in that. You'd have to use
I mean boards.
yeah, you'd have to use boards in that. So and the whole point is that they've got them face to face.
Yeah.
If you've got a very big one, you might want to just put a cork in the middle to stop them touching each other, but yeah, there you go. That's the same thing.
Mm.
Here's an American solution, which people love. The Americans get mad about this one. Oh gosh, Raymar Art make all sorts of plein air kit, and this is really light, this carrier. The trouble is it's American, and you know, for a cheap product, it's quite a faff to get hold of them. I can't find anywhere in England that sells them, but I put it in here because a lot of people might find that quite worthwhile. This is a very expensive one made by the same people that did the Hugo Pochard box, Wave Art. And there you go, a carrier for £110.
Mm.
I think that's a bit excessive, but there you go.
Santa
Or
Claus.
here's another solution. You can buy these by the dozen, and they
Yes.
come in all sizes. They're called wet panel separators. If you look online searching for that under that title, they're a bit of a faff, and you need lots of elastic bands to keep it all together, or tape or whatever, and they never seem to quite fit the panels, those things, but they are a solution. This is Leslie Dabson's solution. You take 2 panels along of equal size and you just glue a couple of matchsticks to one of the panels, and 4 matchsticks to be precise, and you just tape them together when you finish at the end of the day. Other people use corks.
Yeah.
Trick. But if you come along prepared like that, it helps you wrap up at the end of the day rather more quickly. Okay, so the cork trick I mentioned. You can also at Jackson's, you can get double-ended pins that you can actually stick in each corner to put 2 canvases together. They're quite good if you've got a big heavy canvas, and the pin will actually go into the stretcher frame. So you get 4 of those and stick 1 in each corner and put 2 canvases face to face with that. If you ask at Jackson's, they'll show you. Oh, I meant to give you a photograph of this. There's also a carrier clip that clips 2 canvases together. I forgot to do a photo of that. When I send this thing out, I'll try to remember to include that. Always remember, whenever you're going out, it's always a good idea to take 2 supports of the same size. It just gives you so many options. And also, maybe you'll do 2 paintings. Okie doke. So odds and ends. What other kit do you need to take with you? All sorts of things, you know, bits of string and kitchen towel and
Massive.
rubbers and
Vodka.
rags and God knows, bulldog clips are always a good idea. This is the most vital piece of kit.
Mm.
Butcher's hook is really, really good fun to take. Whoops. Gone up again. Butcher's hook's a very good idea because you always want to suspend stuff from your tripod. Oops, sorry. I've got a very sensitive mouse.
Yes, you
The
have.
cat around somewhere.
He's
Okay,
telling me to go to
so-
colour wheel. Colour wheel.
This is another essential bit of kit. It costs you all of, you know, 4 or 5 quid or whatever. And you literally just have to look online in Amazon under that heading, and you'll get one. And that enables you to get some sort of idea of the composition for your painting. It's a really, really useful piece of kit.
Martin made mine for me.
The other thing is a paintbrush rest. Now there are all sorts of most easels and pochade boxes and trays and goodness knows what else have holes in them for putting your paintbrush in. I'll show you. Here's the tray that goes in here. I'll just get out of here. Can I get out of here for a moment? Stop sharing.
I can't see you. This damn thing saying meeting is being
Yeah,
recorded.
yes. Stop share. And how do I get back to me? Yeah, hold on. Okay. Yeah. There we go. So I can see.
Oh,
what-
that's good.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's the tray that fits in a
I
tripod.
got better. 'Cause
And you can see they've got little holes here. And that's designed for putting your paintbrush in.
Mm.
Well, the thing I find is
Too
the holes
yeah.
never ever match the size of your paintbrush.
Never.
Ever.
No. Mm.
And also the other thing to
It's a
me,
can.
if you're putting your paintbrush into a hole like that, all the paint is going to go down into the brush.
Well, the other way around.
It's much better. I mean, the Japanese hang their brushes that
All
way.
right, I put it the other way around.
But to me, the compromise is to lay your brush flat. And when you've got a nice tray that goes on the side of your pochade box, you can just put your brush flat in that. And if you're very, very clever, how do we get back? Share screen. That one. There we go. You can buy a commercial one. There's a very, very fancy one here. It'll cost you 10 quid. And it's got a ladybird on it, which is very smart. And it's ceramic. But you can actually make one for yourself. I just get a stiff bit of cardboard and bend it, make a zigzag, and reinforce it with a bit of tape. And you can just stick that into a little container and take it with you. I use those in the studio and I use them on plein air. It's just a nice little trick. I think I'm going to patent the idea because I've never seen anybody else do it. Maybe I should make an aluminium one that expands like an accordion and sell it for vast profit. Okay, there we go. Next one. Oh yes, what medium? We talked about the dippers on your palette. We want to go big screen. Thank you very much. If you're, I don't know what mediums you like using, but when I'm painting in oils, I use a mixture of half solvent, which is either Zest or Gamsol. Zestate or Gamsol are two very good solvents. I mentioned Gamsol because all Gamblin's products, an American firm, are extremely good. Their varnish is good, their solvents are good. Everything they make is wonderful. And one of the things they make is a solvent-free gel. And it's quite a nice way of just taking a solvent with you. It's rather like, what's that stuff? I can't remember the name of it. forgotten, doesn't matter. It's a very good medium anyway to
Liquin.
liquid. Yes, it's got the same consistency as liquid. Well done, you read my mind, Bryony. So if the mixture
Can
that I
you get
normally,
this? You can get this anywhere. I haven't seen it before.
yeah, you can get it online. That's how I
Yeah.
got it. But I noticed that Green and Stone had it.
Okay.
Green and Stone, the most expensive art shop in the world.
I know. You get a discount being Chelsea Arts Club, you know that.
Yes, I do. I've never used it actually. I should.
Well, just tell them and they give it to you, 10%.
Yeah, okay. Well,
Mhm.
thanks for the tip. Thanks for the tip.
Mhm.
Maybe we should put that in the slideshow.
And I actually, I wonder if being a member of the Royal Academy, you can also get a discount there. You used to.
Don't know. I don't know. You have to ask. I
You used
don't
to be
know.
You
able
can
to
with SOFA. We get a
Yes.
discount.
What at Green and Stone?
Yeah.
They used to give us a discount.
I
don't
don't think so.
know.
Yeah,
don't know this
I've had a discount there with my membership card when I've had it.
Okay. I'll definitely give that a crack then.
No, but Chelsea
Yeah.
Arts Club, you get a member.
We'll get the cards out soon and then you
take
can
all your
try it.
cards and see what they accept.
Anyway, the medium that I normally use is a mixture of half solvent and half oil, and that works quite well. But this is good to travel with. Now, if you're not using oil paints, but you want to think you're using oil paints, what you could consider using is a particular brand of acrylic
They're
that dries
marvelous.
very slowly.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
they're made by Golden. They're called their open line of colors. And they sometimes takes a day for these colors to dry. So if you're going to a hot country or
Yeah.
a summer's day, you definitely want to take these out with you.
Mm.
And
Right.
I love them because you can push them around a little bit, and they're just really, really good. Good alternative.
Really good make, Golden. Yep. Fantastic.
Do you use them at all, Greta?
Yep, I do.
Yeah, they're good.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that's quite a good tip.
Hmm.
For pencils, now I don't know if anybody else has discovered Blackwing pencils. They are the best pencils in the world. They're made, the graphite is made in Japan. The wood comes from, I think, oak casks or something that they make in Japan. At least they make them into pencils in Japan. And then they're assembled, I think, in Vietnam, and it's a Vietnamese end that's put on it, and it's a marvelous rubber. And the beauty of these pencils, why I love them so much, is that they are silky, silky, silky smooth. You never get that gritty bit. And the one to go for is the one on the top, Blackwing Matte. That's the softest one. It's probably equivalent to a sort of 2B, or they don't grade these by B's and H's. But that's the soft one. I've got one here.
What's the make again, did you say?
It's called Blackwing.
Blackwing.
Yes, you can see it there in the
No.
photo. I should have put it in the thing. And if you, I don't know if you can see my fingers here, but actually you can take the rubber out, make it bigger, and it.
No, I can't see your talk. This meeting is being recorded. I can't get rid of that.
Okay.
Blackwing.
Well, anyway, it's called Blackwing. And
Blackwing, okay.
they are just so, but they're quite expensive. They're probably the most expensive pencil you ever buy. I noticed that they were selling them in the Royal Academy shop the other day. I get mine online, but I don't think Jackson's have them. I tell you who does have them
No.
is Green and Stone. Anyway, I haven't tried this pearl one, and I certainly wouldn't want to try the firm one there. I like soft pencils. I wouldn't try the extra firm, but that black one at the top is just great.
Okay.
Now, my job with SOFA, going out on these plein air days, is very simple. It's to find coffee, to find loos, and to make sure it doesn't rain, and then to work out what to do if it does rain. So I'm normally looking for a place that got some sort of shelter, but quite frankly, there are lots of places we go to that don't have any shelter. So what you can do is get an umbrella and stick that onto your easel. This is quite a good setup here. That umbrella will have some sort of a clamp on it. There are lots of them available if you go online. Again, Americans do these brilliantly.
Windproof ones. Yeah.
If ever you go to America, you want to sort of stock up on a few of these things. I only put that red thing in there as a complete joke. Somebody suggested to me the other day that you could take, this is a waterproof clipboard for ramblers. They put their maps inside them, and somebody
All
suggested
right.
you could do your drawing inside that. I think I'd rather commit
Hide
suicide.
under a tree. I should
Yeah.
go and have a coffee.
But looking at this setup here for a moment, look how this artist has put a huge amount of equipment in a very small space. See, hanging
Paper towel, that's good.
of solvent.
Mm.
That's a very good idea. And if you're painting in acrylics, you want to hang at least one bottle of water or jar of water. It's always a good idea, incidentally, to, yes. Just come out of this a bit. How do I, yes, stop sharing.
Mm.
And I don't know if you can see.
Yes.
That's just an ordinary old plastic jar of some sort. And I've just drilled a couple of holes in and put a bit of string on it. And I use that all over the place
Yeah.
for acrylics. And then I put a couple of smaller ones inside it. You know, and you've got 3 containers for water. And the trick with that, when you're painting on plein air, is to have one of these things. Called a carabinier or something.
Yeah.
One of those.
Super.
Thank you. Background
Hi,
provided by my
Brian.
daughter.
It's
Anyway,
Brian.
so that's quite a good little tip. And when we go back to the show, that's brilliant. You can see that you could put that little setup here. This is another one of the famous pochard boxes. I can't remember the name. Do you recognize that, Branny?
No, I'm not very.
It's
clued
another
up.
American name.
Yeah.
I've just forgotten what the name is. Anyway, they've got shelves on each side. You can see that they've got a viewfinder here.
This one,
Brushes
that's
stored
good.
over here. An important thing to remember is your kitchen roll, of course, is to hang something at the bottom of your tripod. If you've got any wind at all,
Stabilize it. Yeah.
you need a hook, just somehow make an attachment at the bottom of your tripod so you can hang a basket or your backpack or a bucket of water or something, just to give some solid ground, some solid weight to your tripod to keep it firm on the ground. And that's quite a good setup. Little color chart there too. So I was quite impressed with that. Now,
It's Leslie.
I don't want to get, yes, I don't want to go through this whole list here, but I put it up because this is on the SOFAP website under the plein air page. There's a PDF, and this is it, of the checklist that you might need when you're going out. You certainly don't want all of this stuff. You'd need a wheelbarrow if you were carry all of it. But
Stanley Spencer.
it helps you not forget stuff, just to run through it. And I just look at this top one here. A lot of people now are using wheeled trolleys. People are making quite good trolleys these days, and you can stick a toolbox or something onto the trolley and stick all your kit in
Much
there.
easier. Yeah.
And then drag along behind you, or just a cheap suitcase. And there's always something you forget. You forget your palette knife, or you forget your palette itself, or you forget to bring a stretcher along. I've forgotten my tripod on occasion. There's always something that you forget.
Yeah, or the brushes.
Bulldog clips, always very useful. The most essential thing on this list is, let's have a guess,
The hat.
is a broad-brimmed hat.
They have.
The hat does so many jobs. Leslie here is wearing a lovely broad-brimmed hat. It's not just to keep you from getting sunburned, but it does help you when you have a brim to see colors better. if you can just
Mm.
tip your head a little bit and cut out the glare from the sky or from the sun,
Yeah.
it helps enormously. So that's my little checklist. Okay, some final thoughts. When you finish your painting, do you or do you not varnish? That's always a big question. Some people prefer not to. If a painting is going to be held or hung in an area of high humidity, you nearly always should. Varnish does give a nice protection to the painting. And I've discovered this Gamvar now, made by Gamblin, is really good because you don't have to wait 6 months before you put it on.
Mm.
Normally, you're advised with oil to wait 6 months before you varnish the painting.
Yeah.
Gamvar, you can wait till it's really touch dry, say a month, and then you can stick it on, and it's very easy to apply. And the good thing about it is you can then take it off if your grandchildren in 100 years want to have your painting cleaned. They can take off the Gamvar, stick another layer on, and the painting's as good as new. Another thing I thought I'd mention as we're talking about landscape is the deadline for Landscape Artist of the Year on Sky is this Friday, Friday the 3rd of May, rather.
May, yes, for May.
Is that this coming
April.
Friday? Next Friday, Friday week.
No,
no,
that'd
No,
be
that's
April.
in
No.
April.
month away,
You're
a month away,
thinking
it's a
you-
month away.
No,
Anyway, so I'm
3rd of
looking-
April. 3rd of April is Wednesday.
Yeah, that's right. So this is May, sorry.
Yes, 1 month.
Not a
Um,
month.
It's I would love to see all those pods full of SOFAP artists one day. Wonderful to have a bit of a jolly there with Taishan Scherenberg and all the guys.
Mm.
I couldn't paint with a camera behind me or anything.
And all those
of course you
people,
could,
no.
Brandy. You've painted with me taking photographs of you.
Yeah, but not.
Boards.
It's actually funny enough, when I did Portrait Artist of the Year, the technology was kind of very much in your face, particularly when you're doing it inside. But
Yeah.
after about 10 minutes of sheer terror, you just sort of relax into it. It's not a problem. Okay, I've just put a silly thing here, what to leave in the boot of your car. I actually leave certain things in the boot of my car just because they're the sort of things I forget. And it's my hat, my tripod, and this thing here in an emergency. That's my sort of emergency easel or support.
Canvas holder. Yeah.
And I just think it's a good idea to have that as a kind of go bag. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I had a few here, which I was going to put up, some quotes and things. I'm not sure I can find them. Where did I put them?
I think that was absolutely
Yeah.
marvelous, Martin. You've been very clear about what works and what doesn't work, and given us some real pointers on where to look. I mean, I'm not very good at painting outside because I'm always scared of how I'm going to get it back. That has always been my thing. So I really, really like your idea of the clips
Right.
and holding them in a frame. I mean, that's such a good idea.
Yes.
It makes complete sense now.
Yeah, that's the biggest
No,
challenge.
brilliant talk.
Good. Hi, Belinda. I didn't realize you were there.
No,
Hi.
no, sorry, I didn't realise my video wasn't on, so I just
Oh,
did
yeah.
it a bit late.
Oh, that's brilliant. And Belinda's a watercolorist, so all this stuff about oil will have gone.
That doesn't matter at all.
No, but I mean, I might become an oil painter. So anyway, it's very, very helpful, Martin. Really
Yes,
useful.
absolutely. It's
Brilliant.
nice to know. Let me do what that. Yeah.
Good.
Ready?
I loved Vincent van Gogh made a remark. I was going to put this up on the slideshow. He said, to do good work, one must eat well, be well housed, have one's fling from time to time, smoke one's pipe, and drink one's coffee in peace. I think that's a sort of the life of a
Makes
plein air
sense.
artist.
Excellent.
I'd do without the pipe, I think. This is very welcome.
A little flask in your pocket for the cold days.
Absolutely. Now, has anybody got any questions?
Oh dear.
No.
No, it's very, very
very
precise.
clear.
Just
very-
a
I
couple
will-
of things that came up. You were talking about the solvents, Zest, Gamsol, and
Yes.
Liquin. Which one do you actually prefer?
Liquin, I've
Is
used
it-
for a while,
is
but
it-
I don't really like. It's rather nasty stuff. That Gamsol one I really do like.
Okay.
But my preferred mixture in the studio is stand oil, 50% stand oil, 50% solvent, and that would be Gamsol. And put it in a bottle, shake it up, and it's just a wonderful medium to have with your oil paints. Just going to put this up again. Where are we? PowerPoint. And there we go. I just put this up again because I've put my contacts on there. If you want a copy of the slideshow, then I'm very happy to send it. Just send me an email, and I'll put it in the post to you. Oh, not in the
That'd be
post,
brilliant.
into an email. I think the post
Definitely,
exists
I'll-
anymore, does it?
I'll get a copy of that. Yeah.
That would be marvelous. Thank you very much.
Okay,
Martin, that'd
now
be
I'll
great.
stop that sharing now. So questions.
Well, none really. Carry on.
Do you think I cannot set my palette out in an organized manner?
Uh,
Mine is always chaos, and I've tried doing it organized, but I'm just obviously not made for that.
I think
What are the benefits?
the
Like 1,000 of us, Bryony.
I think with palettes, the wonderful thing to do is be really, really organized around the edge. And then that gives you the excuse to make an absolute mess in the middle. You know, where you're mixing stuff, it doesn't matter what sort of mess you make, but round the edge, I find if I put the same color in the same place all the time, I hardly even have to look. You just get used to it. It's like playing a piano, you know where the notes are. And you've just got to work out one day, sit down and think, well, what do I think will work? And give it a go and then stick to it. It doesn't matter whether it goes cold to warm, or some people even do transparent colors and matte colors. That to me is much, much too complicated. But I would try and organize your palette quite rigorously, Brownie. I'll just have to wag my finger at you next time.
This is very
I just
basic.
put-
How much?
Sorry.
Go on, Greta.
Sorry?
Go on. You go on.
It's Brownie.
No,
Oh,
Bryony.
Brian. Sorry.
It was Patricia. I
I
think.
was just saying,
Patricia, sorry.
if I want a colour, I'll just squeeze it out then and there, you
Yeah.
see.
Ah, well, of course, there is one of the big problems, is how do you avoid wasting paint? And when you've got a pochade box, I should have mentioned this. The great thing is before you shut the lid, just get a layer of cling film, stick it on that, and then shut the lid. And, you know, it'll last in the box for 3 or 4 days. And if you aren't going to use the box for 3 or 4 days, you can scoop it out in the studio or at home.
That's the
and use
advantage
that
of
paint again.
oils. God,
And
with
that
the
is the advantage.
acrylics,
With
yeah,
acrylics,
that's-
it's a little bit more tricky. You squeeze
Yeah.
acrylic out
Victor.
on a palette, you just got to
I
chuck
s-
it away.
I said, yeah, that's why
Yeah.
I use paper plates. My
Yeah,
colors.
paper plates are go. Yeah.
I use it for my tattoo over the colors. And
Yeah.
each one is different. So I've got thousands of paper plates.
That's very good.
I just want to ask, how much paint do you squeeze out on your palette if you're going to squeeze in advance?
Yeah, I think, do you know, a really good dollop is a good idea
Just a
because
can,
you don't want to be mean with your paint. And especially if you're going to be using, as Brandy
oils.
does, a palette knife from time to time, you want to be quite generous with what you're using. And so, I mean, I squeeze a good a good fat ½ inch. I mean, you need a lot of white. So you do a great
Yeah.
big mound of white. And then with cadmium red, I tend to do not very much because you're out and everything's green. There's very little red around normally, so you're hardly using your red at all, except to moderate your greens. And maybe there'll be some pink blossom around at this time of year. And a little bit of the magenta. Lots and lots of ultramarine blue. For some reason, that just disappears. Because you're mixing it, and you're making all your greens with it, your sky's blue,
Blacks, yeah.
you know, the water's blue. You just need a lot of it. With phthalo blue, does anybody use phthalo blue?
I do sometimes
it
in acrylics.
Winston,
Seems
you
to
can call it
overtake
Winston.
everything as far as I'm concerned.
It's a very violent
It's
color.
vicious. It's vicious.
It gets, honestly, you'll get undressed at night and you'll find that it's got inside your underpants. It just goes everywhere.
It does.
It's got a life of its own, so you've got to be really careful. So a tiny drop of that. Lots of lemon yellow. Yeah, be generous rather than mean, I think. Good question.
And that's the same for watercolor, is it, Martin?
Yes, I think so. I mean, you've got your pans with watercolor, and some people do tubes. Stick a good line. The great thing with watercolor is if you've got a tube and it dries in a pan, it reactivates again when you put more water on it. So you're not losing it. So you might as well be generous.
Right.
The only one that you really do lose paint with, you can't really scoop it into anything, is acrylic.
Acrylic, yeah.
And they do have a thing called a stay wet box. Have you heard of that? It's like a
Yes, yes,
plastic box with an airtight lid.
Mm.
And you put a damp bit of
Work
paper at the
terribly
bottom.
well, I don't think.
No.
But those don't last more than a day or two.
What's her name? Oh gosh, I can't think of a name, but she keeps her acrylics in the fridge.
Yes.
So
She keeps her acrylics in the fridge.
yeah, she
Oils,
she has a
Thin film.
container with lots of compartments in, and you know, different color in each compartment, and it has a clip-on lid, and when she puts it in the fridge, and a few people said, oh yeah, that's the thing to do.
Well, certainly with oils, some people keep their oils in the deep freeze.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that works, and I've never bothered. I think the thing with oils is to cover it well. If you've got a big palette like the one I showed you at the beginning, great big palette, I cover mine every night in the studio with cling film, and I put it in a dark drawer. So I think it's the combination of light and air that makes it go hard. So if you do that every day, you've got a fresh palette the next morning. Lovely.
Good tip. Fantastic.
Fun.
Okay.
Right. Well, thank you very much, Martin, for a very informative talk.
Not at all.
I look forward to receiving the recording. And the PDF, please.
Sorry?
And the PDF.
Oh yes,
of the talk. That would be brilliant.
The slideshow. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, look, I just want to quickly introduce my daughter here. You can come into the screen, Lulu.
Hello.
Who's quite an artist herself. She's been my technical guru, pressing buttons when I do the wrong thing.
Yes.
Right. Lulu, you need to join SOFAP to bring the average age down.
Oh,
good idea.
Okay, everybody. Well, look,
thank
Thanks
you very
very
much.
much.
Really good fun.
Happy Easter.
Thank you.
Happy Easter. Yes, have a good one. And
Happy Easter.
Yes.
I hope to see some of you next week for the how to get your pictures on the website.
Yeah,
Yes,
tutorial.
that'll be great.
I may be going to
it was-
club, I'm not sure. Yeah.
It was in the last e-newsletter, so look that up and sign on.
The only final question I've got is, are the martinis ready?
Brian, see you soon, please.
Excellent.
Brian, see you
Hello,
soon.
everybody. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.